People with Friedreich's ataxia don't make enough of the protein frataxin. Without frataxin, cells in the spine and in the heart don't have enough energy to survive. Now, research we have co-funded shows that a type of vitamin B3 called nicotinamide may be able to get cells producing more of the frataxin.
Well, this is a very exciting piece of research, and we have finished and published in the Lancet the first trial that really address the lack of frataxin that is the cause of Friedreich ataxia.
This study was both a safety study as well as a study to look as a primary endpoint for the upregulation of frataxin, since this would potentially be a radical treatment for the disease.
The hope is that by increasing the amount of frataxin, we can stop Friedreich's ataxia from progressing and maybe even turn it around.
Here you can see quite clearly an increase in the frataxin levels, which is relatively plateauing, but still rising after 4 weeks. And so it looks as though we're able to bring the frataxin levels, at least in these peripheral blood mononuclear cells, within the range of the heterozygote carrier, and the heterozygote carriers are known to be asymptomatic. So I think that we can summarize by saying that nicotinamide was associated with a sustained improvement in frataxin concentrations towards those seen as in asymptomatic carriers, and these results suggest that we should go further and now test whether nicotinamide is safe given for longer periods of time to people with Friedreich's ataxia, and B, whether it's effective in reducing or preventing the deterioration that happens at the neurological and cardiac level during the course of the trial.
So it is really important. It is to say, obviously, that is a very first step, and then in the future we are going to have a larger trial that is really will address the question if nicotinamide is able to modify the progression of the disease.
As the father of a daughter who has got Friedreich's ataxia, I mean, these early results are very encouraging and I mean, really quite exciting in terms of where they may lead to and the developments.
It's clear from the literature on people taking nicotinamide and niacin that niacin is in fact more toxic, and so most people using therapeutic versions of vitamin B3 are now using nicotinamide in preference to niacin, which is of course a dietary supplement. We were not allowed to do our trial using these types of supplements because they're not subject to the same rigorous control that the MHRA imposes upon drugs, because they're classified as food supplements. And so one thing is that you don't know what the dose is, and the second thing is you don't know what the purity is.
Okay, can I just come back to the results in this particular trial, which obviously were very positive in terms of frataxin, but there were no significant effects seen on the clinical rating scales for disease progression, even over the 8-week period. Should this be regarded as a disappointment?
I would certainly say that at least to see something and to be absolutely sure, I would expect a year. I would wait for a year, but certainly not less than that. I would really like to emphasize that is again a first step. We don't know how much nicotinamide is safe at this dose, and I would say to all my patients at this stage not to take this drug.
Yeah, I reiterate that too, but I would say, watch this space. In a couple of years we might know the answer, and hopefully we're on the beginning of some potential treatment for this really horrible disease, and it would be really great if we could find something
Absolutely.
that can at least alleviate the decline or prevent the further decline.